Now, you don't need some sinister man like me to tell you that when Keanu Reeves took on every part for John Wick, he trained extensively with every weapon that he used, using it like an extension of his own body. Brilliantly acted, well scripted, the choreography was sensational. So that should mean when they did the ballerina that everything should be the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
From mastering jujitsu, intense firearms training.
Let's have some blind. So penultimately, that kicks us off with Ballerina from the world of John Wick. I think when you make a title for a movie just like that, it's going to say a lot about the movie to come. This movie needed the John Wick legs to stand on. But let's start off with the plot. The movie starts off and centered around a young girl named Eve, played by Ana de Armas. And let's face it, this girl looks the part. After a pretty good opening scene when her father gets killed and she's left alone, what of course happens when the head owner of the organization comes to find you? He trains you and builds you up into the ballerina that you now see, only for her to go on more missions and able to potentially locate somebody that killed her father. The cult members that took his life when she was just a young age, she understands now that this is her new priority and moves hell and high water to find out who killed her father and ultimately why. And because the script says so, she was able to locate the mysterious mark on one of the killers and locate one of the suspects that could be involved to find the people that killed her father and the mysterious organization that they belong to. And this goes back to one of the things that she was already told. Even from a young age, she can't fight like a man, so she needed to fight dirty. And that goes back to honestly her training. You can definitely tell that Chad Wazowski was already brought back again to refix a lot of the fight scenes that were in this movie. There was a lot of comparisons as to how they were done in John Wick, which he absolutely nailed when he was doing all those movies. But when they had to bring him back in, it definitely needed to be enhanced. It just wasn't cutting it. It felt a little awkward and it felt a little sloppy with all of Anna's training, that the weapons that she was using wasn't as crisp, wasn't as clean. She almost felt nervous using them in a lot of ways. But I honestly thought there were a few good scenes that she did very well. Some of the VFX was not the best, but it played off very well in the end, I think. Some more than others, of course. But speaking about the end, yes, Keanu Reeves is in this movie. Well, we'll get back to that in a second. I honestly did think John Wick Chapter 4 was the last time that we were going to see Lance Reddick in this movie. This was shot well before he died, and he was able to get himself a nice send-off here as his final movie, and the guy nails this role as Winston, as he always does. Her curiosity is always going to be increased to find out who killed her father in the mysterious cult. After seeking information and specifically being told not to go after them, they were able to find them and eventually locate them in the Swiss Alps of Austria. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, sweetheart, but there is no way in hell you're driving a Ford Mustang in the snow in the Swiss Alps of Austria. That's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to move 5 inches. But what Eve does not know, and had to learn the hard way, is that there is a treaty between her organization and the cult that killed her father. A treaty of peace where nobody is allowed to engage with anyone else. And of course, no one listens, and Eve decides to go off anyways. Once she's able to practically locate the cult, pretty good amount of fight scenes take place. And honestly, I can say that I was pretty much impressed. For the most part. They certainly weren't the best by any means, but after the fight takes place, calls are made and says that the treaty was violated by the ballerinas, and in order for them to shut down this organization, one man gets called in to put her back in her place and eliminate Eve.
Yeah.
That brings us back to Baba Yaga. John Wick is in this movie more than just a brief cameo. He's in there for a little bit for a mid-credit scene, and then he's brought in for a pretty good action set of scenes at the end that he does very well. John Wick does not disappoint whenever he puts on his suit. It does bring up some very good scenes, but unfortunately, this is a ballerina movie, not a John Wick movie. And even some issues with involving a box of grenades, everyone should be dead in that scene, including Eve, but the plot armor that she has is invincible, clearly. But John Wick tries to get her to walk away, but ultimately gives in and gives her 30 minutes to take down the cult leader and leave and disappear forever. One of the best scenes that I have ever seen is done in this movie with a flamethrower, and it is honestly exceptional. I give credit where credit is due, and that was incredible. Well done. And after everything is all said and done, Eve is lost into the world of the ballerinas and gone, and now there is a bounty put on her for $4 million. And, yep, pretty much that's the end of the movie. Oh, God. I wanted to enjoy this movie more than I did, and honestly, I can say that this was a good movie, and even I can possibly recommend that people go see it. But the problem is, The girl boss stigma has gone pretty strong and is going to deter a lot of audiences from wanting to see this movie. You all know what I'm talking about.
Boy,
Don't worry.
that escalated quickly.
She's got help.
I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Girls get it done.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Which is why ultimately I think that this should have just been a standalone film. The John Wick movies itself were very, very simple. All the way back in 2014, when Lost superhero movies were the only thing that was out, all you had to learn was don't kill a man's dog and he won't burn the entire world down to get to the people who did it. Which, to be fair, I think we would all do the same if you're a sane person. But Ballerina should have been a standalone movie and honestly out of the John Wick franchise. It would have done much better. Let me know in the comment section below, what did you prefer, John Wick or Ballerina and the John Wick universe? I need to honestly ask all of you, this was not the best movie in the world, but honestly, it wasn't a bad movie either. For me, my movies are either a sin or a win, and I need some help finding some middle ground here for a good movie. Honestly, the cast, great. Some of the action scenes were okay. VFX was okay for some parts, but I think the whole girl boss mentality has ruined movies like this, and you do see a lot of faults with Eve's character, the ones that really shine through. She gets her ass kicked. She learns a lot. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and as always, until we meet again.